Hello, welcome to November's Makers with Heart collaboration. I'm Crafting with Amanda. My name is Amanda, and I'm going to talk to you about how I do some organization with my stamps and other things. I will have some chapters down in the bottom if you just want to skip through. So Close to My Heart stamps come in these gray envelopes, and they have improved over time. So now instead of a snap being on the back, like the one you see there in my left hand, they come with a slit, so you can just tuck that top part of the envelope into the stamp plastic itself. So to remove these snaps, I did it because it saved room in my boxes. I was finding that I was getting so many stamps that I just didn't have room in my boxes, and I didn't want to buy more boxes because that's how much space I had. So I had to figure out a way to consolidate. And at the point that I started doing this, I was not ready to get rid of duplicates. I have since well streamlined my stamp set. But you can see how easy that was. It's a soldering tool, and you let it heat up, and then you just poke the center of that button out. And so I store my stamps 2 to a pack, or for the most part 2 to the pack, and I try to find themes that work together. So here I have this tiny alphabet with the typeset alphabet, and so they're going to go into one envelope, but I want to have the manufacturer's label to go on that stamp set too. And what I found worked best for me is use a heat gun or an embossing tool, and you just heat it up for a little bit. I let it get warm a little bit, and then I'm just going right across that, and then you can start peeling it up, and you know if you've done it long enough if the majority of the adhesive comes off of the plastic stamp. There will not be, if you've done it perfectly, which I can do often, there will not be any residue left on the stamp envelope that's on the desk. So I'm going to now, this is the one that I took the button off of, but here's one of the brand new ones with the slit in it. And if you want them with the slit, this is one that I took the button off, but you just draw a line and then slice it. I didn't do that with too many. I just found like it was too much of a ordeal to do it. The plastic is pretty stiff, and it took a lot of pressure, and so I found I didn't have a problem with just the lid staying shut in how I was using these. So now these 2 stamps that are Christmas stamps, I'm going to go ahead and put together, and because they're the newer style, I'm going to use one of these to combine my next 2 stamps, so I'll show you that. So my heat gun is a little hotter at this time, so it didn't take as long on getting that sticker started. And I probably should have done it just a little bit longer. I can see in my peeling that it wasn't quite as soft as I like them to be. But it's going to stay on there nicely. And then I like to have that white background behind the dark image on the stamp carrier sheet, just so it makes it easier to see what the stamp images are. I had happened to find some 6x6 white papers that I had cut for a project for a couple of years ago that didn't get used. So I'm using those now in the center of my stamped images and taking the other 2 papers out. Again, it's just another way to save space. So here I'm taking off the first label, and I'm going to put it on that newer stamp envelope that has the slit so that I can tuck the top of the envelope right into it. I'm going to grab again one of my 6x6 papers that I found in my studio reorganization project. I should call it a studio organization because we are new in this house and I've never actually gotten organized in here. I kind of just grabbed the things that I needed to hit the ground running to continue to create here. So now I am putting that second label on, and I wanted to show you that I just grabbed 8 stamp sets. So 8 stamp sets in their envelopes, different sizes. Some are C's, one's an A, one's an A. A couple of them are D, and that's about how much room they take up. And then here's the 4 that 3 of them I just put together. That was already one that was together. So there's those 4, and you can see how much room they take up compared to the other. And I'm trying to hold them the same tightness, and you almost get those 8 stamps in the space of 5 that are done singly. And here I'm going to jump into what I do with those extra stamp envelopes. I use them to hold my embellishments. So sometimes I have extra Cricut cuts, sometimes I have extra die cuts that I just don't use. Sometimes I have projects that I have sent out for club kits for people, and these were the ones that were left over. We used to meet monthly at our church, and I would have a project, and I never knew exactly how many people were going to be there because I didn't require people to make a reservation. It was just a free night. The church offered me the building for free, so I could offer this for free. So these are Let's Go is what this says, and it's all about travel. And so I try to keep some of these and know where they are, because I don't know about you, if I can't get to them or know where they are or know what I have, I'm not going to use them. So by putting them in a stamped envelope, and then I go ahead and write on the outside, this is what is in here. In fact, a layout that I did for a video on Friday had balloons in it, and these, you saw the balloons there, but there were different bigger balloons, and I happened to see the word balloon, and so I could check out these balloons. I thought I was going to use those first, and they didn't work quite as well, and instead I used the other ones. But you can just see there's everything here, from store-bought flowers to homemade flowers to embellishments from this lady that used clay and did some amazing things with that. This again was one of my club card projects, and I cut extra because you just never know how that's going to go, because I would let my Cricut run and then leave. So those are all there, and I know what's in here. Now this is how I store my thin cuts that have a matching stamp set. So if there's a matching stamp set with the thin cut, they all go together in this bin. I just started doubling up those. The envelope is a little thicker with the stamp, the thin cut, and another stamp and thin cut. But then all just the thin cuts that don't have coordinating stamps, they are in these books, and these are the Everyday Life albums. They're the 6 by 8 inch Everyday Life albums, and you can get them in whatever colors that they have. They have Julep, Sapphire, Black, and Candy Apple right now. I think these were Bluebell. So I have a few of those from previous campaigns, but you can see here that I have my letters and alphabets, and then these are kind of the standalone die cuts that don't have the matching or coordinating stamp set. If there's any instructions, I go ahead and include those. I was going to show you, normally these magnetic sheets come out easily from these 3x4 page protectors, or sorry, they're 4x6 page protector inserts that I use, but because I had the purple masking tape on the one, it wasn't going to slide out easily. And here's the other thing that I do for organization. For my photos, I have gone through and I try to keep all of the same event in one of these photo envelopes that I've made. And I'm going to show you a little bit later how I make these pocket folders or envelope folders if you want. But what I do on here is in the category that they go in the box, it's fine, and then any information that I have, like if I know where this took place, what year it was, if there's any details that I have, if there's any memorabilia that I have, because I sort my memorabilia separately, there'll be a number on the front of that envelope. So here I'm going to show you how to make these. First of all, you're going to cut a 9x8 piece of just general copy paper, and then you score it with the 9 inches tall. Go ahead and score it 2 inches wide, and then turn it 90 degrees and score it again at 4 1/4. And so when you fold these lines, you'll end up having a little bit overlap on one of the sides, you'll see here. So I'm going to go ahead and fold in what becomes the pocket. That's the 2-inch side. And I would just sit one evening and kind of assembly line style these. So I would cut 25 pieces of paper at 9x8, and then the next night I would score them all the 2 and 4 1/4. And now after you fold them here, you just trim off that one little side, and that gives you your file folder tab for your label. And at first I tried to make it a smaller file folder tab, but the more information I could have up there, the better it was for me. And you can just see that these fit in here nicely. I know sometimes when I've prepared for a crop, I've actually used the left side of the envelope for pictures for the left side of a page and the right side for the right side of the page. And here's what I was talking about my memorabilia. I have some memorabilia without photos. And so I want to tell those stories too. And so I have a card that tells me you have memorabilia, or like a program from going to see the Jersey Boys with my best friend. So all of those things add up to how I do my organization. Be sure to check out what the other girls did. I know several of them gave some studio tours. That should be a lot of fun. Remember to send some love and be kind. Blessings.